Today I'd like to share an interesting new project that I've been working on for a while, which is just me trying to figure out what some of the different areas inside of my Workflowy account are actually doing. I had the idea because a while back I had made basically my version of Spotify's Unwrapped, but for my Workflowy notes. And so it worked out pretty well. I enjoyed it. I shared it online in the Workflowy communities, and they also seemed to get a kick out of it. So this time I decided to go in the direction of something maybe a little bit more useful and not so much just presenting interesting metrics. And that's what this is. It's the Workflowy Account X-Ray. And so what it is a very simple web tool that allows you to connect your Workflowy account to this browser-based tool and then explore it in all kinds of different and interesting ways. As with the other tools, none of your Workflowy account information actually goes anywhere. We're only using the Workflowy API and connecting to it in the browser to pull your account, and it's just cached on your browser and you can get rid of it at any time. It's not being stored to a server or anything like that. So same kind of safety measures are in place. So the first thing you want to do is visit this website. The link is going to be the first one in the description, and you'll be able to paste your API key here. If you don't have it on hand, you can just click here to explore a demo account and just mess with the thing. But obviously the most interesting thing is to use your own account API key, like I'm going to do right here. Just copy right here, paste it, and then X-ray my account. It's going to connect and download it, and now it's cached in the browser. So this is my context collapse Workflowy account. So as we can see, I've got 7,714 notes. This represents 100% of my notes. So what you see here is the main way we visualize information in the account X-ray thing. What we have is blocks that represent the size of notes that each one of these blocks is holding. So for example, at the very top of my account, I've got 5 areas, activity areas, AI, and a bunch of smaller ones, which represent less than 1% of all my notes. That's why they're so tiny and they've been grouped together. Next, we can also see that 32% of my notes have been active within the last 3 months, last 90 days, which makes sense because it's a relatively small account and I'm adding a bunch of new notes. If you have a much older account, this number is probably going to be really, really small. And we can also see that I'm an absolute certified task master with only 7% of tasks done. So yeah, if you have any questions on productivity, I'm the guy to ask. So what we've got below the number of total notes is the legend for what these colors actually mean. So in this view, we've got the green, which means the note or the content has been active within the last 30 days. And then if we get this green color, that means it's been active from 30 to 90 days. If it's orange, from 90 to 365 days. And we can adjust these parameters in the left-hand sidebar. So I'll show you in just a moment. If it's gray, it's been abandoned because you haven't touched it at all within the last 365 days. And then the grouped items, which represent less than 1% of your notes for the view, are grouped in this blue color right here. So yeah, the first thing it does is give you a very clear visual representation of all the stuff you've got in your account. Sometimes it's hard when you're browsing through Workflowy because it's a bunch of nested nodes to recognize how much stuff is actually inside of each one of those nodes. So on my account, I'm going to click on Show Outline. This is what it would look like. I've got these 4 items right here, and this is another view we can use. We can look at it in a more of a hierarchical way, so it's more familiar to us from using Workflowy, but we can also go back to the map view. But basically what I'm trying to show is this is what you would see in Workflowy, and it doesn't really tell you much of anything. You have to kind of remember or know that this one right here, activity, has 5,137 notes. Then the next one has 2,406, and then this one has 165. So on the surface, they look kind of the same. Once you look at them like this in this kind of an area graph, then it's very clear where all your notes actually are. And on the left-hand side, we've got a couple of different things we can use to filter and view our information. So the first one is what's already activated. It is overview. It's just where are all your notes? And that's what uses these various colors to represent how active, how much activity is happening within each one of these areas. Next up, we have active now, which changes the colors a little bit to represent where the most recent activity is happening. So not just where all the stuff is, but where is the most recent activity actually going on. So the colors changed a little bit, but it's still green is where all the newest stuff is. By the way, when you hover over any one of these items, you get a little bit more information. So for example, this one right here was updated 6 days ago. Inside of this section called activity, we've got the total number of nodes, how many direct children, and also how many tasks and how many complete tasks we have. So yeah, we just kind of click into these, and we can at any point switch over to the outline view. And we can also browse it this way. We get additional information here about the total number of child nodes and notes, when it was last updated. Clicking on these little drop downs allows us to navigate this in a very familiar way for us Workflowy users. And then at any point, you can also visit this item in your actual account. So that's one of the biggest uses for this application. It's not just kind of an interesting way to visualize your information, but I hope it also gives you some insights into where most of your notes are concentrated, where things maybe are abandoned, where you should probably maybe pay a little bit more attention to see if you might need to reorganize things. It's just a way to help you get a better view of what's actually going on inside of something that is maybe a little opaque. It's kind of hard to tell because it's not easy when you're just browsing through your notes in Workflowy. Having it visualized and using colors and the sizes to represent that makes it much more apparent where action is actually happening in your account and where things maybe require a bit more attention or a bit of cleanup. And so the way you actually open up the note in your Workflowy account is once you're inside the outline view. I don't think we can do it in the map view. I don't think I added it there. But in the outline view, you've got this little link button right here. And so, for example, if I want to actually go to this item right here because I realize I need to do something about this area, I realize that I want to move it somewhere, I can just click this and it'll open it up in my Workflowy account so I can actually do something about it. There we go. The second thing we can do is click on Save. And we can do this from both the outline view and the map view. So I'm just going to zoom out. We've got the breadcrumbs right here at the very top. Just like in Workflowy, we can zoom out at any point. These update to let us know how much information we're actually seeing. But let's say that for whatever reason, I want to remember this section right here, areas. I've got this little plus button right here. I click it. And every time I add one of those items, what happens is they show up right here under saved findings. So it's really just a list of where this item is. And I can also visit it from the sidebar, but I can also add notes. So I can do something like need to review these. Let's delete this stuff. So the idea is that as you're browsing using the different views that I'm about to show you, you get those insights, you get ideas about what you want to do with your account, how you want to clean it up, how you want to organize it. So what you're doing is marking those items, like planting little flags in your account, and then adding a tiny note for yourself once you've gone through your account. And then you're able to export this, put it back into Workflowy, and now you've got a list of all the different sections of your account and instructions for yourself or for AI about what you want to do. So once you've finished taking your notes, all you got to do is click on Copy List. And let me just open up Workflowy real quick. And you can paste it like this. And here's what it looks like. So it's got the link to the item, the note you added, and it just makes it a lot easier for you to then turn this into something actionable versus just, oh, it's kind of an interesting visualization of my account. You can take notes, make decisions, and hand this over to an AI agent, or just remind yourself of things that you need to check on or get rid of or reorganize. So that's what that's for. Back in the app, I'm just going to get rid of these by clicking the X, and I can also collapse this. So what we're looking at now, like I said, is the active section. These are the most recent areas where activity has been happening. You can also see when that was, 6 days ago, 7 days ago, and also that is indicated by the colors. Next up, we have needs attention. And what this is representing the areas that have the most notes and also have the least amount of recency in terms of when you updated or changed anything in there. So these are the big, heavy things in your account that you are not looking at, you are not touching, you are not editing. So whether it's something you want to look into to decide if you want to do something about it or not, that's up to you, but really it's just helping you visualize things that are very hard to see if you're just looking at it inside of Workflowy. Next up, we have cleanup, which shows us the sections that have the complete and incomplete tasks. So different ways of looking at this. The areas that have a bunch of complete tasks are ones that you might decide to move into an archive or some other place, or maybe even get rid of completely. And you can also see the areas which have a bunch of open tasks. So these are to-dos inside of Workflowy that are not complete. So areas that maybe you might want to explore because you've got a bunch of things you should probably be focusing on. So a couple of different ways of using it, depending on how you organize your stuff inside of Workflowy. And lastly, we have Sprawl, which just shows us the items that are very shallow, have way too many branches. So unless it's a document, chances are this is going to require some organization. You have an inbox that's just got too much stuff in there. There is no depth to it, just a bunch of random notes. So areas where you might want to look into to actually reorganize. So I'm just going to poke in here a little bit, look at some instructions. Now I'm going to look at it in the outline view. And so as you can see, most of these have not been touched within the last 5 months. So probably want to look at these because I'm using them to direct my AI agents inside of this account. And I can go even deeper and see specifically which skills have not been touched recently. So just a bunch of different ways to kind of slice and dice your workflow information, especially around, in this case, organization, where most of the activity is happening, where the heavy parts of your account are, where the complete and incomplete tasks are, all kinds of common things that are useful when this is your second brain. It's the database of your life, basically. It's definitely a good idea to figure out what's actually going on, how you're using it, get a better picture, because you might think you're organizing it in a very particular way, and then you look at it through these lenses and you realize that actually there's probably better ways of organizing your stuff based on how you really use Workflowy, not how you would like to use Workflowy or how you imagine you're using the application. So that's kind of what I was hoping to help everybody explore. So yeah, that's the quick lenses, the easiest way to just browse this with these different kind of filters. And then below that, we've got some controls. By default, I decided to hide the AI messages. So for example, if I turn it on, for a lot of people, that might be just this kind of annoying thing. If you don't use Workflowy's built-in AI systems, then you're probably not going to see this item. But if you do, you're going to see a bunch of stuff in here. And for most people, it's just like junk, especially the way it's organized. It's not super useful for our purposes. So I just decided to toggle this off by default so you don't see that. It's also going to inflate the number of notes. So let me see. Yeah, we're at 8,000. If I toggle that off, we're at 7,700. So it's off by default, but you can definitely mess with it there. You can also change a couple of the aspects of how this graph is put together. So for example, the rectangle size is by default, reflecting the direct number of children you have, but it could also be by the total number of descendants or by the text volume. So depending on what kinds of things you use Workflowy for, maybe you use it to hold all your documents before you export them as PDFs or do whatever, then maybe looking at the total amount of text is a better way to figure out where the activity is going on in your account. For the small areas, I don't think we have it here. Let's see. Back to the overview. There we go. This one right here, the small areas one. Basically, any node that represents less than 1% of all the notes for whatever zoom level you're at, we can display that either as a grouped section or we can keep them actually separate. So you can see what is inside of that without having to click into it. So it's my inbox and it is my shared and it is the AI. So yeah. And then lastly, we've got the rectangle color. So by default, they represent activity or decay, but we've got a couple of other options here if you want to mess with those, depending on, again, how you use Workflowy. But for most people, this is probably the best way to look at it. And like I mentioned, we can change the thresholds for the activity. So by default, I consider a node active if you've messed with it within the last 30 days, cooling if it's within 90 days, dormant at a year, and beyond that, we're just not gonna consider it. So that's it. The last thing I want to show you is how to clear the cache so you can get rid of all this stuff. Once you're done with it, you're done playing with it and you've explored everything. It's all fine and dandy. You've saved some notes and now you've got a better picture of how to reorganize your account. You can just click here on Clear Cache Account. It's going to probably show a pop-up to confirm it, and that's it. It's gone. The information is no longer in the browser. You don't have to worry about anything else. And that's it. If you ever want to come back and add your API key here and explore it again, you can do so. So that is it. That's all I wanted to show you. Just a very quick overview of the application. It's going to be more or less interesting depending on how many notes you have inside of Workflowy and the kinds of things you use your account for. So I try to include as many useful filters that I thought someone might, appreciate, just different ways of slicing and dicing their information. When you see this video on YouTube, I should have already published the GitHub repository so you can look at the code, download it if you want to play with it yourself. And yeah, so just like the previous ones, everything is happening in the browser. We are connecting to the Workflowy API, but your data is stored in the browser. It's not going to my servers. It's not going to anywhere else. And like I just showed you, that's how you clear it. And that's it. So I'll have a link somewhere in here if you want to explore the code or mess with it yourself. But other than that, it's pretty simple, just an interesting little tool I wanted for myself, and I think other people are really going to enjoy. If you would like to see additional filters or options, because I really built this for myself, so there are probably ways of seeing the information that are maybe not obvious to me or not super useful to me, so I didn't add them. But if you would like to see me add them, be sure to let me know in the comments and I can update this very, very quickly thanks to all the cool AI tools we have available now. So that is it. Be sure to like the video if you enjoyed it and subscribe so you don't miss out on my next projects around note-taking, productivity, AI, and of course, as always, around workflow. So till the next one, I'll see you then.